Cheetahs and many other species are very much endangered. And COVID was a very tough time for many people, but it was also a very tough time for animals. My name is Pietru van Eden. I'm the General Manager at the Dyk Cheetah Centre at the Wildt. The Dyk Cheetah Centre was started in 1971 by a lady called Anne van Dyk. She started the centre by accident. She always had a love for wildlife, and one day her brother bought her 2 cheetah cubs that were brought here as pets, and they were confiscated by nature conservation, and because she didn't have the correct permits to keep them. And they went to the Pretoria Zoo, but Anne was so taken by these cheetah cubs that she wanted to be involved somehow in their conservation. And at that point, cheetah was critically endangered, and there was no institution that could work out how to breed cheetah in captivity. And then Anne eventually convinced the Pretoria Zoological Gardens to use her farm as a satellite facility, where they then started breeding cheetahs in captivity. Over the years, over 50 years, we must remember a cheetah has a lifespan of 8 years. So keep that in mind if I say to you we've bred over 800 cheetahs. And these cheetahs have been placed all over the world in many accredited good institutions, and also try to release cheetahs where it's possible, when she could find safe conservation areas to release them in. Various research publications have been published. So there was many achievements over the year, and also received quite a few awards for her work in conservation. Before COVID, we were a much larger operation than we are now. We had an active education department, an active tourism department, then the normal maintenance and animal care departments. So we were basically 4 large departments. And in the day we would have a team going out mending fences, fixing roads. Another team would come in the morning, mix food for the cheetahs, go and check on everybody, feed everybody. And then the tourism department would be receiving guests. We had up to 50 guests a day. And all of this changed in a question of a couple of days. Everybody was sent home, and we just kept the animal people and some maintenance people. We had to reduce our operations tremendously, because with the reduction of tourists, the reduction of income as a result of that made our operations very difficult, a lot more challenging. So we had to make our operation much smaller. So we had to close down our tourism department. We had to let some of our guides go, our receptionists, those people that were dealing with the public as their main function, and our education department, because we couldn't be visiting schools. So all of those staff had to be asked to go as well. So it had a huge impact on our staff complement. It was so sad, but we didn't have much of a choice. Due to the reduction of income, we suddenly had to find ways of looking after our animals and paying salaries, that suddenly our income was gone. So we had to look at ways of fundraising more to get our food paid for, to pay our staff, to get the electricity bill paid, because otherwise you can't keep your meat cold to feed the cheetahs. So the loss of income from the fact that the tourists weren't coming anymore had a huge thing, and a huge impact on us. So we appealed to the public out there to help us with donations to adopt an animal. So they could adopt an animal for between 200 Rand a month or a year and 6,000 Rand, and then that money would go specifically towards buying food for the cheetah, paying for their vaccinations, paying for their supplements, and paying for their medical care. And without the support of the public during that time, I don't know what we would have done. But we had lost a lot of old-timers and knowledge. and we had a couple of very young students that were here at that point, and young guys, fresh guys, and they just had to step up and learn. They didn't have a choice of an old guy doing the job for them. They had to just learn by doing it. And at that point we didn't have any tourists coming in, but as the lockdown rules changed, we were allowed to have guests coming for a walking trail. And these students just stepped in and they started taking guests on walking trails. And suddenly these guys that were little students that just survived for their practical year started making such a contribution towards the centre, but also to conservation in general, because South Africans don't always have the money to visit game reserves where they can see cheetah in their natural habitat. But if they can come to a centre like ours and they pay 160 Rand for a walking tour, they can see the cheetah, they can experience the cheetah, and such making an impact on cheetah awareness and hopefully conservation. And these students just stepped up and they just made such a success of it.
Come. Okay, my name is Kwazigwenkosi Excellent Inyati. I'm originally from KZN, but I came in Pretoria to study nature conservation. So at the center I started as a student. I'm still a student helping. So I basically do assistant driving, do guiding tours, and some maintenance where it's needed to. Before before lockdown came, I was a student. I was just gaining some experience through feeding, doing some part of guiding routine. Then lockdown came, then we had to step in because of the center couldn't be able to pay for some of the employees. So that's where we stepped in to do those driving assistant and doing tours. Formally, basically it was more of tours because our center depends mainly on the guest. It was depending on the international tours. 50%, I would say 30 of South Africans did part of our tour, did visit, then the whole 70% was abroad. I've gained a lot of experience that I needed by that time, and I didn't think that I will be having by this time. So it's really because of lockdown, it has allowed some of us to gain new experience that I've been telling you and the duties that were related to. So I think we'll try to make up for the damage that we've been having at the center. It's still slowly, but we will try by all means to get as much as guests to visit the center as possible through our marketing and giving them the best informative tours during our guided tours and even walking tours, cheetah runs. That's what we mostly do at the center. Their claws are always semi-partial, they'll be always exposed on the outside like those of a dog. To them it's a great advantage and a great feature. It allows them to have a better traction while they are running at the high speed.
So the positive part of it is that all our staff had to learn new trades and pick up new skills so that we can continue our work, and also in the process reached out to the local South Africans because we had to make it possible for them to come and see us as well. In the past we really much relied on international tourists and we didn't focus so much on the locals, and I think this is an opportunity that COVID created for us. Local tourism. So at the moment the centre is in a very good place. We've managed to reinvent ourselves in many ways. We've managed to change our focus so that we reach more South Africans, that we reach the guy that can afford a 100 Rand tour, not a 5,000 Rand tour. The centre is in such a good place where the staff is concerned because we've built such a nice team. It's a dedicated team. There's no such thing as it's not my job. Something needs to be done, you do it. And those animals rely on us. We can't say, I don't feel like it today, or it's Saturday, or I've got, there's a COVID pandemic. You need to pick up and do what you need to do. And in that sense, it's really built the team of the Wildt even stronger. Our plans for the future definitely includes focusing on conservation of cheetah, to make sure that we make those captive bred cheetahs that are suitable for release available for that, But the important part is to have as much and as many school children come to the centre as possible, so that we can further our education and awareness of cheetah and cheetah conservation in general. Without the support of the public, it's not possible to do what we do, and that is the real value of what COVID taught us as well. It's a partnership. Cheetah conservation can't be done by one person alone. You need a team.